The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Podcast. It's another edition of The Big Issue. And of course, without taking much of your time, we'll go into the big issue of the day, which is the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, coming under fire over his remarks on fuel scarcity and the new Naira redesign. As usual, I'm your regular host, George Agba is my name. And with me here in the studio, our in-house analyst, we have Silas Ezogu.
Thank you.
And Chibuzo Okaibe.
Thank you.
Well, the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, yesterday came under fire for saying that the traitors have plotted to sabotage the election using the fuel scarcity and the new Naira redesign. Tinubu, who spoke during the presidential campaign rally in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, urged Nigerians not to allow the fuel scarcity to dampen their spirit against exercising their civic responsibility, particularly voting for his party to victory in the election. Alleging conspiracy and mischief among certain elements within the corridors of power, Tinubu said the recent redesigning of the nation's currency was also part of the plot to frustrate the citizenry, even when such is equally being hoarded. Let's just get Tinubu in his own word. Even if they say there is no fuel, we will still trade to vote. They have a lot of mischief. They could say there's no fuel. This one too, they think they can cause a crisis by sabotaging the fuel supply. They are sabotaging fuel supply, whether there's fuel or not, whether there is Okada or not, whether there is cycle or not, we will go and vote and we shall win. This is a superior revolution. But the opposition People's Democratic Party yesterday descended on the APC presidential candidate. They berated Tinubu for trying to blackmail President Muhammadu Buhari and blame the APC-led federal government over his looming devastating rejection by Nigerians. Of course, Tinubu today replied the PDP saying the opposition party and its presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, should stop getting high on their own smoke. Tinubu said no political blackmail and ploy to create bad blood between him and President Muhammadu Buhari will succeed. Well, Silas, this is a report that has been there in the public domain. But what is subject for big issue here is the APC presidential candidate has come under very serious fire for his utterances. Some Nigerians are picking it up from where the PDP stopped. But you see how politics is. There is no permanent friend and permanent interest.
Yes.
Yesterday, the PDP became the spokesperson of President Muhammadu Buhari, accusing Tinubu of blackmailing the president. Was Tinubu actually blackmailing President Muhammadu Buhari as claimed by the People's Democratic Party?
Thank you for the question, Josh. It's the whole thing is a laughable station. It's serious and also laughable. That's the kind of mix you get from the kind of politics we play in the country. Even when things are serious, they try to make it look chocolate, like a joke. And yesterday, I'm sure that all those who are watching the political scene must have had a big laugh
Honestly.
at the whole outburst, because what Tinubu did was an outburst, just like the outburst of
Emil Okon.
which he also did in Ogun
And that is
State.
something I observed that, you know, sorry, I'm not cutting you short. You observe that anytime Tinubu becomes controversial and whatever he says becomes controversial, he always says it in Abeokuta, Ogun State. The Emilokon issue was actually in Ogun.
Yeah.
And now the idea of the Naira redesign of Scarcity targeted at Fatim was still in Abeokuta.
Yes. So if you look at it carefully, that Abeokuta holds some important, position in the scheme of things in this election. Bosenyo is from Ogun State,
Yes.
and he has thrown his weight behind P2P. The vice president, which many people, including the latest one that will leave the camp of Najat Mohammed, was just saying yesterday or this today that if it had been Sancho, the party would have had a good candidate, but the candidate they have the bad product, and somebody from Ogun State as well. So and when he said it, it was strategic. Several people will argue otherwise. Like I was saying, Emil come in Ogun State, the place of Shibajo, to send a message to him and to his boss that this is my turn. Even though we are interested, it's my turn. And you don't even know that yesterday. At some point in the speech, he mentioned the traitors who wanted to contest with them. You see where he's going?
Yes.
The same state where he's talking about traitors who wanted to contest with them. And who is in charge of the economy? Who is head of the economic? It's the vice president. So don't be surprised that even seeing beyond the president and seeing beyond the citizen to put it at this thing at the doorstep of the vice president, who he called. I don't know where he went to, but he said traitors were. I know the Southwest, a lot of people thought that by contesting against his former principal, that was traitorous. I don't agree with that, but a lot of people who want to see things his way may think as well. So, what I see is that he has stomached this thing for a long time and decided to let it fly and say it's mine. It's true that today now, for hindsight, we begin to douse it and then trying to redefine what he said. But essentially, it was criticizing a government policy like redesign, which he's part of. But this is APC government, which he claimed authoritative that he midwifed, brought to power, and has voted for 7 years. And he brought the policy now. And he said he's going to continue the policy of PMB, Buhari. And they bring a policy that some people already seen the gains of the policy, and you are hitting at it. If you are hitting at it, it means most likely that you're also hitting at the president who brought the policy. But this design had the support backing of the president. Okay, so you are telling the president that this design was a wrong move, and you are counting on the president's support. So, the whole thing is, I don't want to take too much time discussing it all alone, but I think that the man said his mind. Okay, whether he said how he felt. Some people think that maybe he should not have spoken his mind because the politics sometimes tact is better than truth, and sometimes But he said his mind. He feels that he is cloistered by these policies from possibly spending, but he said they will win. So he's still confident that despite all this, he's going to win. So give it to him for being that enthusiastic and being that optimistic. I'm sorry to say.
Yes, but let's look at how the PDP handled this. Today, Tinubu came out responding to the PDP, and he said that the PDP, according to him, let's just quote him verbatim. PDP and Atiku should remember not to get high on their own smoke. No political blackmail and attempt to create a conflict between Tinubu and his long-term ally, President Muhammadu Buhari, can succeed. We have bad news for Atiku and his handlers. Their latest mischief is therefore doomed. fail. So if it is not mischief, how would PDP automatically suddenly become President Buhari accusing Tinubu for trying to blackmail President Muhammadu Buhari? That is a very funny step anyway.
Very, very funny.
But how do you see about the whole of this drama playing out? Is it that the APC presidential candidate is always fond of misfiring, especially when most of just like those days, Abati will always come and be lamenting his woe. He will say, "Kai, yeah, the problem you always have when you have bad product to sell is that the more you try your best, the product will not be allowed you. It's anytime as soon as you are feeling comfortable that you've packaged President Goodluck Jonathan and his wife, the first lady, Patience, they themselves will go back and say things that at the end of the day will not disorganize everything they have been packaging all the while." I think Tinubu tends to by himself.
I really feel for I really feel for those to define this. No, I don't envy them at all. I do not envy them one bit because I think he really dug them into a very interesting hole. As for in fact, where do we begin from? It's an absurd scenario on different levels. Very, very absurd. One, why Ogun? Why is it you have to really try to know whether it's a deliberate thing that he always goes to Ogun to make
that statement?
Did he want to create a background, an environmental background upon which he makes, what was he trying to convey? Really?
I think to say something about that Ogun.
Yes,
always the point.
What was he trying to convey with the context of Ogun? That is on the one hand. What was he expecting of the PDP? When he was firing on Silas, he didn't mention any name. So he created a window for people to speculate. And it will be hard to speculate wrongly with what PDP has said.
Because nobody was mentioned, whatever PDP said is still within context.
Absolutely within. In fact, the margin of error is very slim, considering that the Tinubu is talking against Naira. The Naira redesign, which is a policy of his own government.
A policy that President Muhammadu Buhari himself is wondering why Nigerians are against CBN.
Exactly. Government. You are talking about
in an interview, Buhari was even saying he wonder why Nigerians are against a policy that he feels.
You are talking about a fuel subsidy thing, which the Minister of Petroleum is
the president himself, and he has
just set up a committee. So when you raise these questions about sabotage, who else are you referring to? So all PDP was just
to put
their own. In fact, he scored an own goal. PDP just
put him along.
Well, let's see here. I think taking him in context will help to know whether the PDP actually took him out of context. For instance, see what Tinubu said, Silas, in his own word. Let them increase the price of fuel. Only them know where they have hoarded fuel. They hoarded money, they hoarded Naira. We will go and vote and we will win. Even if they change the ink on the Naira note, whatever their plans, it will come. We are going to win. Those in the PDP will lose. I am a homeboy. I have come here. You will not be put to shame. We will take over the government from them. The traitors who want to contest with us, they have no experience. We will take over the government from them.
So who is the government now?
So let's look at it. And you see, when Chubuzo raised it, and you raised it, and we were talking about some controversial statements. But there's something he said there. I am a homeboy. That means he sees Abeokuta as home. I'm a homeboy. I have come here. You will not be put to shame. We will take over the government from them. The traitors who want to contest with us, they have no experience.
So
we will take over the government
from
from
them. So who's the government?
Who's the government?
It's just like when somebody asks who is the presidency.
This appears as if, of course, he might not mean it, but it appeared the APC presidential candidate always have this tendency to play himself into the hands of the opposition. And how would you blame PDP, Silas, for not taking it from there,
cashing in on it,
and begin to accuse the APC presidential candidate of blackmailing the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
But I also think that this raises some other fundamental questions.
Mm.
You know, in the last 3-4 weeks, thereabout, the CBN had a lot of problems. There was a lot of problems between the CBN.
That is what I was even going to tell Silas now.
Yeah, there was this place that night. Are we beginning to see those?
See that those behind
the strings
for the governor's arrest
should be changed.
That is what most Nigerians are media. Silas, what we are saying here, you need to get on Twitter. An idling Twittering collective children of anger have taken it up from there. If you see the comments now, you begin to wonder, and that is why the issue here is also a very big one. That's why we are discussing it on the big issue. Now, it goes a long way to show that the travails of the Central Bank of Nigeria governor is not just about the DSS, because there had been this insinuation and claim that very powerful political forces are behind the actions of the DSS. And Tinubu coming to say about Naira redesign, beginning to create some kind of impression that makes us begin to believe that.
Some politicians are.
Yes, there is serious conflict.
See, George.
But Tinubu can't be thinking that the CBN governor, President Muhammadu Buhari, could be working against his own interest.
Well, see, you know, recently, Tanko Kasai, then elite, hinted that the president is not fully sold on the of this man being, being the president of Nigeria. And of course, the presidency quickly
reply. And then he's listening to what the presidency said. Sorry, let me continue. It's good we get all this in there. He said, Garu Bashir who said, but Yakasai's questioning of the loyalty of President Muhammadu Buhari stands in sharp contrast to the actions of the president. Only on Monday, he was out at a rally in Bauchi supporting the flag bearer of the party. Presidential duties permitting, he is scheduled to make further appearances at campaign events in the coming weeks. His support for the party's candidate, Asiwaju Tinubu, is unquestioned. If this wasn't on TV, Yakasai's unwise comment on,
the guy should that should be allowed to produce his own successor. And when he said that thing, the president went to Abeokuta and said, Emilokon. So, seeing that if he's went along that pathway, it could secure the party. And allow this to play out by themselves.
By that comment, he really drew the sympathy of the governor, especially the North APC governors.
Advice was to get the governors to sign up. Okay, let's send it to the South. And the other competitors, stepped down for him. And, apart from the president who stood his ground like an honorable man and contested of the loss, I respect that man for standing his ground. Not traitors. He was going for the highest office in land, and he had to contest for it. So he still has my respect. So from that point, you knew that knowing that if they went to a contest, political class for political class, money, big watches for big watches, none of those candidates
will win.
Will stand against. So for him to say, I want to know it, everyone knew that it was not thinking about this candidate. So, and even some where the president had gone to campaign, he said, vote for a candidate, credible candidate. It is a vote for, it's one of them. He said, vote for credible
candidate.
And you can see what is kind of baggage around him, the issue of drugs, issue of corruption, stuff, his origin, his certificate, everything I shredded in not discussing in how do I put it, under a cloud, and he said vote for credibility, character, and so on. You can't be talking to somebody who everybody is questioning his source of wealth, his source of his birth, his name, everything about him is shady to the public. Then you also talking about article who people are also talking about the SPVs and co. It can also be talking about credibility for somebody who his principal said this person has stood enough to feed 400 Nigerians for 300 years or thereabout. It can't be such that way. So, so he must have looked at all those speeches the president made and feel that this man possibly not competing for me. He may be appearing on stage, but deep down in his heart, maybe this is not supporting me as he should. We saw how Obasanjo just campaigned for Yar'Adua, even putting a call to Yar'Adua, Omoro, they say you are there. Even though Omoro was not the popular candidate for the party, but he campaigned for him everywhere, put him there. So this one said, Bola is going to appear in 10 places, 10 campaign, and in some of the venue he said, vote for people, vote for your choice, vote for credible candidates. You're not saying must vote for my party.
Then if President Muhammadu Buhari,
so that may be why he's saying this, even these policies and this fuel crisis may all be against him. You can feel that sense of victimhood. That whether it is true or not, the CBN said this Naira carried shimlet and sang, it's not political. That it was done in the interest of saving Nigeria's monetary system. They've said it and said it. It's not for the politicians and other Nigerian businessmen to walk around it.
well, Chibuzo, from the look of things, China has made a very salient point that sometimes when Buhari goes for even this rally, he goes for the APC presidential candidate, he had always insisted on Nigerians voting for a credible black candidate instead of saying, Nigeria, please vote for the APC presidential candidate. And if the way things are going, if we're talking of credibility here, are we beginning to see a situation where the president might be throwing this to chance the way he did it in the APC presidential primary, where he now said no, he no more has an anointed candidate. The election should be thrown over. And whoever wins should win. That is what we may be seeing in 20.
The president first is the president of Nigeria. I think that should be properly, put in context. He's the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, meaning he's the president of all. PDP, APC, SDP, Labour Party, all of them. He's the president first and foremost before he becomes a party man. So when he says, I will ensure that the best person emerges, he's talking about the interest of Nigeria, what's of interest to Nigeria. Now, and in doing that, it boils down to ensuring that we have credible elections. We have a safe environment for that kind of election to happen in the first place. So I wouldn't fault him for that in any case. But if he goes for a party function and he refuses to, to directly campaign for or mention the name of Tinubu, by saying Nigerians vote for Tinubu as an individual, then it's open to interpretation, because the mere fact that he is there alone should tell a lot, because the whole of that gathering is in the context of a presidential candidate who is Tinubu. So it's already a given that he's there to campaign for Tinubu. Whether or not he mentions Tinubu name or not is neither here nor there. But as for Tinubu, I really empathize with him. Now let me attempt to empathize with him, because if you watch the way his campaign has been, you begin to ask yourself, was it a deliberate thing for him to be campaigning on his record as governor of Lagos
20
years ago, and playing down, much of what the APC government has done in the last 7 years? If you watch carefully, he has all of the campaigns, the narrative that has defined Tinubu's campaign so far is one of he will
reenact
the magic of Lagos when he becomes president of Nigeria. There is this I don't know, is it deliberate? I don't know, is it strategic? Is it tactical? Downplaying of what he's going to do with this
possible
when he takes over.
Deniability.
You understand? So the only time he I think it's when people begin to get a bit nervy, then he throws in the I will continue from where he stopped, so that he gives everybody some sense of belonging. But any clear discerning person will know that from the onset, he set out to run on his own record, and he doesn't want to be run under the shadow of this administration. Does he feel that this administration has not done enough for him to run on? That's his question. That is open for anybody to discern. Now, does that rub off on the presidency in a way that it decides to also play back and watch and do look and see, sit down, look? That is also possible. But there's also the nature of the president, Buhari. Buhari has always been this laid-back person when he's not directly on the ballot. And we've seen that a number of times. We've seen that play out a number of times. Remember when he went to Ogun State in 2019? Same Ogun State. Where Amosun was having problems with the other candidate. And he said,
group, yes.
Vote for me. Any other person you want to vote, you're on your own. He did the same thing too in Imo. Vote for me, any other person you want. So the nature of the president has always been like that. So it depends on how you read it per time and where you are reading it from. So it's neither here nor there as far as I can tell.
Well, that is the much we can take for today's edition of The Big Issue. But the takeaways here is that the presidential candidate of the APC seems to be exposing himself vulnerably to attacks by comments that perhaps he himself might not be saying it the way it's been interpreted. And that behoves his handlers to manage him, to make him know what to say and what not to say at the right time, at the right place. And it is still an unfolding event. Just about 1 month to the general election, there is still the electioneering season where the political play is still on. And as time goes on, we will know whether Nigeria, the President Muhammadu Buhari, the APC-led federal government, is working for the interests of the APC presidential candidate or is working against his own interests. But the presidency came out and said President Muhammadu Buhari's support for Tinubu is unquestionable. As time goes on, we will see. Thank you for keeping tab with us. And of course, I'll thank our in-house analysts for addressing the big issue. Join us same time tomorrow for another edition of this program. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.